Hello everyone, I'm Alanah, and I am very excited about Dying Light 2. In this video, we are going to be watching a Dying Light 2 update for March 2021 from the dev team, talking about where the game is at. It's obviously been a long time coming at this point. Dying Light was awesome. I loved it for a whole bunch of reasons, but before we actually get into watching the update, which is about 2 minutes and 46 seconds long, I did want to speak to a little bit of why I'm so excited about Dying Light 2 specifically. I am someone who is very interested in video games from a technical perspective. Interested in games that I feel like are taking steps to further the medium, that are doing things that I find to be technically very difficult, that are unique in that approach. While there are plenty of games I'm excited about in any other sense, the stuff that I really get into when it comes to just marketing, which is effectively what this kind of video is more specifically in relation to the boundaries that they are pushing. Now, I've seen Dying Light 2 a number of times. I've interviewed devs. I hosted their E3 panel, not last year, but the year before, because we didn't have E3 last year. So there are a bunch of things that I have spoken to the dev team about, and the thing that really excites me about this game is kind of an evolution of something Ken Levine spoke about at a GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference, a number of years ago. Dying Light 2 is one of the first AAA games that seems to very much be building into this concept, which, to explain it in a very simple way, I would totally recommend it if you can. Go watch Ken Levine's original talk. If you don't know Ken Levine, he is the creator of BioShock. He is working on a game right now. But if you don't have the time to do that, it is essentially about approaching games as though players have individual pieces of Lego. And while the Lego will eventually all create the same thing, the same castle, there are different colors to get there. And to, again, simplify even that concept, it's basically about letting players have more control over the worlds that they inhabit, about their choices having a visual impact on the world that they inhabit. For example, there is tech that is being developed right now that is specifically catered to basically creating an AI version of a voice actor, which would allow voice lines to be delivered in different orders. So every single player would have a very unique experience, and a unique experience in theory every time they play the game. I have seen games that have played with the tech of having voices in different orders, and while it sounds really absurd, it actually does work fairly well from what I've seen. I don't know that anything has shipped with it yet, unless there's something that I'm missing, but the idea is basically that based on the things that you have done prior, a system will be funneled in your direction that will pick this piece of dialogue and this piece of dialogue and this piece of dialogue and put them in a paragraph. So nothing is scripted. There are no more set pieces. There isn't the songbird moment from BioShock Infinite anymore, because that stuff can't really belong in a game that is more driven by AI. And it's not necessarily procedurally generated. While it is that, it's not what the public thinks of when they think of procedurally generated video games. It is ultimately just more player impact on the story, and not in a way that exists like a Telltale game where one outcome is bad, but only minorly. It is an evolution of that kind of thing. Dying Light 2 does it in a way that the world itself should actually evolve based on which faction players want to spend the most time with. So say you spend time with, one faction versus another, you will start to change things to look like that faction would, or how they would outfit their bases or whatever else. So this is a beginning of this thing that I think is going to have a very significant impact on video games going forward. The narrative side of it is a lot more complicated and a lot tougher to get right, and would be more focused on, if you spend this much time talking to this NPC, they will have more power over time, and then maybe they will be promoted to a certain role, and then the world will start to look like it might have some of their propaganda, for example. But that is the simplest way that I feel like I can explain this concept. I'm sure I've just done that poorly, but it is something that I find extremely exciting, that I think should really change the way video games are played. Ken Levine himself said BioShock is just Half-Life reskinned. And a lot of first-person shooters are really just a different iteration of Doom. A lot of video games still tell their stories the way that films tell stories, in a very, scripted, cutscene-heavy way. And while I love that and I don't want that to go anywhere, there are very cinematic games that I'm a huge fan of. I think the medium has so much more room to create unique experiences, which naturally it is doing all the time, but also in the AAA space with this kind of AI approach to building a world, to empowering specific NPCs, and to changing the player characters' relationships with those NPCs based on the choices they actually make, rather than it just being, oh, the ending had different colored explosions. It should be the world transformed to look like this because you made these choices along the way. So that is 5 minutes of me explaining that. That hopefully makes sense. But it's why I'm very, 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 very excited about Dying Light 2, outside of just really enjoying the first game a whole lot. I think it's really fun. Still holds up today as well if you haven't played it, and they also released a pretty fun multiplayer mode too, so check it out regardless. But now I'm gonna hit play. This is the Dying Light 2 update, March 2021, and I'm watching it on GameSpot's channel, which is why you see their little logo down here. Alright, let's do it.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I love Dying Light, but it's time for Dying Light 2. Stop f***ing us around.
What word is he saying?
Dying Light 2. When will it be on sale? I want to play it right away.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna have the same fate as Dead Island 2 and never come out, unfortunately.
Hello, Dying Light Studio. I hope everything is doing okay, but I'm really worried about the game. I hope it's not cancelled or something.
This is a really cute way to do this.
Do the f***ing Dying Light 2. Stop do the f***ing DLCs. F-word.
This is bullshit. Release Dying Light 2 or give a f***ing demo, god damn it.
Okay,
wow.
We got a message. We understand you are curious about the game because you want Dying Light 2 to be good as you have imagined. And maybe you are even a little impatient because you have waited a long time for any news and updates.
This is a huge and complex project, and we needed time to
Sure
make
is.
sure it will live up to our vision. All of us here are putting our hearts into delivering a game that you will keep playing for months. We will be ready to start talking about Dying Light 2 very, very soon.
The whole team needs your trust and support, as this is what motivates us, especially now when the circumstances are hard for everyone. We are proud of having such devoted fans as you.
I like this
no
presentation
matter
a
how you
lot.
express your feelings. And just for you, here's a small snippet of what's coming. Please stay with us just a bit longer and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna make myself smaller. Oh, wait, stop, stop, stop. I need to make myself smaller. Give me a second. Here we go. Okay. Is that it? Damn it.
Starting right now, you can go to our Discord and find a special...
There is
demo
nowhere near
tutorial.
enough. Let me just look back through this gameplay, see if there's anything in here that like stands out. So they're right. What they're making is complex and exciting. And it does seem like they have had some development troubles from what I can tell, but I really would have hoped we'd seen more than this. Okay, so I don't know that there is any of what I'm speaking about in here. It's a thing I've been speaking about for a long time, for the record, is like I had originally heard that they were trying to do it with Half-Life Alyx, and that didn't quite end up happening. One thing that I think they may have spoken about before is the fact that everything looks so green and the water is based on one of the factions having control of the water, if I remember correctly. And I mean, there are slightly simpler games that have done that. Wasteland 2 kind of, you know, depending on which of the various places you go to, there will be limited or a lot of water, but I don't feel like that has a tremendous impact on environments. And I feel like this stuff might have been some of the, but even like things like where are we here? Like this flag. Really simple, but stuff like that should in theory evolve based on which factions you have worked for, which you have given money to, which vendors you're buying from even. It's the idea that like if you're spending money on one NPC's store, that there should be some in-game sort of, I don't know, visual impact on the fact that that NPC is earning so much money. There are, I feel like Assassin's Creed like sort of originally did that with, you know, how you can upgrade things, but it should be much more organic than that. It wouldn't be you paying to upgrade a store. It would be a funneling of money to a certain organization, changing the way that things look in the game in a way that no other player should really have an identical experience with. But I feel like this is such a small amount of gameplay. I mean, it looks good. I'm excited about whatever this is. Damn it, I really just so badly wanted to see more than that. It kills me. But regardless, even if it kills me, they are right. I'm so curious, but I will wait as long as they need to release a finished product that hopefully does still include this idea that I'm still very, very, very interested in to some extent. I don't think it's gonna like blow my mind with it, but it seems like a beginning of something that has a lot of potential to change the way that stories are told in video games. Yeah, I get the passionate tweets. I think it's something that makes the video game community or video game industry in general just really cool, is the amount of passion that people have for video games. That's a plus of our medium. They let you be attached because you feel like you have agency, and that's really cool. No other medium really does that to the same extent. But at the same time, I never want to rush a dev. Take as long as you need to make the cool thing that I'm going to play. Please, make it good.
Starting right now, you can go to our Discord and find a special DL2 question channel with a form that will let you send questions directly to us, to
I appreciate that.
We'll answer all of them in the form of a series of short Ask Me Anything movies.
That's good. That's good to know. So we're gonna get some AMAs from them. I appreciate that. But it looks like that's it. I did expect that whole video to be full of gameplay. If the dev update is just keep waiting, I still respect it. That's fair. But I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you all for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye!